Hi, and thanks for making a reservation for Table for One. Tonight's entree features the topic, Why is turning 50 a big deal? Let's get into the aspects of turning 50 that make it a milestone. And then we'll follow up with a mental health palate cleanser and talk about human development and the psychological processes that occur during this stage of aging. Sit back and enjoy your Table for One. Hey there, you are right on time for your reservation for Table for One. Step on in, get comfortable. So glad you're here to join me as we talk about why turning 50 is such a big deal. I am super excited to be turning 50. And I know that sounds really strange because a few years ago I thought I wouldn't even turn 50. Not that I thought I would die, or anything, but I just never envisioned myself being 50. To me, being 50 meant you were older, you were heading into a late stage of life. Things were beginning to slow down and shut down for you. You were begin to think about end of life type of things. And I'm going to tell you, my journey has not been that way at all. I probably feel more tapped in and excited about my future than I have at any point in my life. So, is turning 50 such a big deal? Well, in our society, we put a lot of stock into numbers, and we're conditioned to believe that certain numbers carry more weight than others. And 50 is one of those milestones. It is one of those, I believe it's the silver. I could be wrong, but it has a special color to it, as do other milestones like 16, like 21. Um, so it's very important in terms of documenting your life journey when you turn 50. So, why is it a milestone? Well, it's different reasons. Some people reflect back on their life once they turn 50 and they think about all the things that they've accomplished, and then they decide to set new goals for the second half of life. I think I'm in that category. Others may feel like they're only getting started and they can't wait to see what the next few decades have in store for them. I think I'm also in that category. Other people think that 50 is now a time to begin to look at your life and what you've done and start thinking about legacy and legacy building. Don't know if I'm quite there yet, but I definitely see the value in it. To sum everything up, I think that the term milestone really implies that turning 50 is a turning point. It's one of those forks in the road where you're not just another year older. This year holds a lot more significance because the road that you are going to continue to travel from there is really about not only accomplishing things that you have still set for yourself for the future, but really starting to think about what your impact is in this world. What type of person have you been? How are people going to remember you? What are the things that you want to leave behind you when you're no longer here? So it's a turning point because it can be scary, it can be exciting, it can be frustrating, it can be sad, it can be terrifying, it can be all of those things. But the most important thing to remember, and the thing that I choose to remember, is that it is a beginning of a new phase of development and growth and opportunity. So, how do I want to get into my 50th year? I think as I think about it, I want to get into it peacefully. I want to start this new leg of my journey with some clear direction and goals about how I'm going to continue to honor myself, put myself first, be genuine and honest with myself. I want to continue to be able to set those boundaries and limits so that I keep a protective bubble around my peace. I definitely want to branch out more into the world and experience more through travel and adventures and creative experiences. I want to continue to love on those that I love. I want to continue to keep an eagle eye on my parents who are also aging. I guess I just want to enjoy myself. Now feeling like I'm able to, like I'm in that space in life where I really can. So, how did I get there? It was a journey. I have been grinding at life for a really long time. And I will say that I had the privilege of being able to retire from my full time job in October of last year. But I still work. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a lady of leisure quite yet. I'm working on it. So I have my private therapy practice that I do on a full time basis now. And I'm able to do that in a hybrid in office as well as virtual uh, way. And I still teach. I am a adjunct professor at a local university, and I love teaching the students and experiencing shaping young minds. So those are the things that I do. The other things I do with my free time, I have been catching up for 25 years of rest that I didn't get when I was out here grinding with multiple jobs. I have been traveling, baby. I have been traveling, and I plan to do more of it as long as my pocketbook says that I can and my wallet says that I can. Sometimes my wallet gives me the side eye when I'm making these reservations, but I have been traveling and enjoying myself and going to concerts and going to new locations and planning trips for myself and my friends. And those are the things that I was really looking forward to do when I retired. I have been taking more of a business minded interest in my business and keeping up with its growth. And that has been exciting to see myself as an entrepreneur. Well, like I said, I wanted to do a palate cleansing for you. So let's talk a little bit about mental health. I'm always going to add a piece to that in your entree, in your meal, at a table for one, because it is what I do and it's so much a part of who I am as a person. I'm very interested in human development and human stages of development. And one of the theorists that I really enjoy their work is Eric Erickson. He came up with stages of psychosocial development, and he said that there were 8 stages that a human would go to from birth to death. And in each of those stages, they would be experiencing different type of growth processes, either physically or psychologically. So, age-wise, I am in the stage of development that is called generativity versus stagnation because I'm between the ages of 40 and 65. So during this stage of life, middle aged adults, yes, I am now a middle aged adult, we strive to create and nurture things that are going to outlast us. So we are starting to think about what we're leaving behind. A lot of people during this stage of life are parenting children. They're contributing to society. They're doing things to promote future generations in this stage of development. So, what kind of things are happening in this generativity stage? This stage is definitely about making your mark on the world. And you can do that through caring for others, creating and accomplishing things that make the world a better place. So, this is going to be where during that stage of life, a person is going to be developing relationships with their family, making commitments to other people, mentoring others, and contributing to the next generation. That can be done through raising children, but it also can be done by having a strong presence in your community. And as I think in my life, I feel like I definitely am in that generativity stage due to the fact that I am constantly developing relationships and maintaining them, not only with my family, who I'm extremely close to, but also with my friends who oftentimes are close to me like family. It's so important to me to have relationships, and I'm so intentional about my relationships with others, whether it's making sure that we're on one another's calendars because we're all booked and busy, making sure that I'm checking in on people when I'm noticing a change in tone or text, but I am always making sure that I'm developing and maintaining my relationships through cultivation. Um, the making commitments to other people has been a little bit of a boundary for me. I'm someone who oftentimes overcommits, and I have had to pull back on that. I've had to learn that no is a complete sentence. If you want to hear more about that, check out our family values podcast entitled No is a Complete Sentence. I have learned to turn down requests. I am getting more comfortable with changing my mind, even though I may have had made a commitment, to then turn around and say that I'm not able to honor that. I still have some spaces where that's a little uncomfortable for me, but I am pushing through and working through it because it is so important to me in order to keep my peaceful bubble around me and not to get myself overwhelmed. So, the other side of this generativity versus stagnation stage of development is this idea of stagnation. This refers to feeling like you are failing to contribute. You may feel disconnected or uninvolved with your community or the society as a whole. And some of the characteristics of this phase will be that you are extremely self centered, you fail to get involved with others, you don't take an interest in being productive, you don't engage in any efforts to improve yourself, and you place your concerns above everyone else's. So, the way that these stages of development work is if you're not in the generativity stage, then you would by default be stagnant. And as I look at that, I don't feel like I am consistently stagnant. Are there times that I get a little stuck? Absolutely. I think we all do. But I really think that I probably stay more on the positive generativity side in my stage of development and really try to stay away from the stagnation because it can bring you down. So, what are the benefits of being someone who is really involved in connecting to their community or society and thinking about being productive and giving back? This article points out that there are several benefits. One of them is having better health, having more positive relationships, being a more productive person, having a greater sense of fulfillment, and being more involved in your community. And so, what are the things that help perpetuate this sense of generativity? One of them is being proud of the work that you do and being proud of being a part of whatever family system that you have. These are the kind of things that help fuel you to continue to want to remain in that generative state. Feeling included, feeling part of something that's bigger than you, whether it's a family unit or some other form of group in the community that you're involved in, is a real way to help develop this sense of generativity. Caregiving activities, including people in your life, being included in others' lives, engaging in social organizations, all of these things help to build a sense of inclusion and community. Taking responsibility as you go through life, you get the opportunity to choose whether or not to take responsibility for your life and your choices. The person who takes responsibility is more likely to feel empowered and in control of their life and their destiny. Feeling productive is a really important way of staying in that generative state. Working plays a major role in adulthood, so it's not a surprise that your sense of pride and accomplishment can be very much tied into your professional work and career. Making contributions is also important because it helps you to stay close to people. And as you get closer to that final stage of life, it helps you to find meaning in what you were put here to do and what you did and what your impact was and what your achievements have done to leave a lasting mark on the world. So there are a lot of benefits to being in that generative state. And there are ways that we can kind of perpetuate staying in that generative state. Now, what happens if you get stuck in that stagnation phase? What are some of the consequences of that? Well, one of the main things is that you can experience reduced cognitive function. A study that was done over a 75-year period of time found that people that had less psychosocial development ended up having weaker cognitive functioning later in life, and that increased their risk of depression. It also, a consequence can be poorer health. Remaining in the generative state is linked to good health. So if you're in the stagnant state, you could face worsening health as you age. You are more vulnerable to that. You can have lower quality of relationships. Stagnation can result in really poor quality social connections. And this can be a problem as you get older because you can begin to isolate yourself from supports that could be helpful for you as you go through the aging process. And then finally, a consequence of stagnation can be that you have decreased life satisfaction. So people who don't achieve that sense of accomplishment are really less likely to feel satisfied with their lives. And they may look at their lives instead of with a sense of achievement, more a sense of regret, being bored, or just overall dissatisfied with their lives. So, what are some ways to improve remaining in this generative state of development? That's what I'm focused on in year 50. How can I stay plugged into the positive aspects of aging and looking forward to what this next stage of development has for me? This article points out that participating in the community and looking for civic engagement is a way to continue to foster these feelings of accomplishment. So, helping out with an organization, taking part in community projects, or getting involved in local activism can be really helpful in keeping you connected to the larger society. Assuming responsibility or feeling productive in work that makes me feel like I am doing what I'm meant to do. Not what I have to do, not what I'm supposed to do, but what I'm meant to do. And working on projects or exploring ways to really improve feeling like I am doing what I'm meant to do and that is really making an impact on myself and others. Learning new skills and sharing them with others. I am really committed to continue to explore things that I don't know how to do or challenge myself to take some of my interests that I've considered kind of hobbies or little things that I tinker around with and see if I can put them into action on a larger scale. I have had a couple opportunities to do so related to my decor and decorating. And I'm going to save that for a whole nother meal. We will talk about that experience. And finally, volunteering is a way that you can make a difference in the lives of others, as well as continue to make yourself feel good because you are giving to those who really are in need. If you want to decrease the chances of your vulnerability of getting stagnant, some ways that you can do that are to explore new hobbies. Find new ways to ignite that sense of passion inside of you. Learn something new. Acquiring and applying new skills can help you feel more productive. Finding new sources of inspiration. Sometimes when you're feeling stagnant, you need to seek out things that make you feel inspired. And you can use these things to help build motivation to tackle new challenges and look for new opportunities. If you've become settled in your role at work or at home, it's important to look for new ways to feel challenged, useful, and productive. Let's have a quick after dinner drink and recap some highlights from our amazing meal. Our main entree featured a look at why turning 50 is a milestone for me and what I plan to focus on as I enter into my 50th year. We cleansed our palates with some human development theory from Erik Erikson, and we specifically focused on the middle adulthood stage of development. So now let me speak to your sweet tooth for a minute. If you're like me, you must end a great meal with an equally satisfying dessert. So, for your dessert, I leave you with some questions to ponder. Please feel free to respond to the questions by leaving me a comment on this episode. First question: what age are you looking forward to reaching? And what age are you dreading to reach? Second question: if you were never to age anymore, what age would you want to remain forever? And then the final question: what is something that you would tell your younger self about what to expect about being your current age? Great questions to ponder. I hope you enjoy your dessert. Actually, I hope you've enjoyed the whole meal at your table for one. Please join us next time for another reservation and an equally enjoyable meal. Thank you so much for choosing to have your soul dining experience at Table for One. I have a doggy bag for you, some goodies for you to enjoy later. For more dining pleasure, please check out the following podcast. For a family-style meal, join me and my family members on our group podcast entitled Family Values, available on all platforms where you listen to your podcast. We've completed our first season and we start season 2 in June. Check out some of our older episodes so you'll be all caught up. If you're more of a comfort foodie, let me share a new experience that I am sure you're going to enjoy. Please be sure to check out my soul sis, my good girlfriend, Tika, from the blog Hey Tika, in her new podcast entitled So Here We Are. Her voice and intention are like a warm buttered roll. You will fall in love with her spirit and her message. Her podcast is also available on all platforms where you listen to your podcasts. If you'd like to reach us at a table for one, please feel free to email at table4one2023@gmail.com.